Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Trek Central Weekly. I'm Starfleet Boy, aka Sohail, and I'm here with Father. And we have not such a happy day, but I'm glad we can be here live and talk to you all about and celebrate the life of Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah, for sure. We had some other plans for today's stream, but in light of the big news today, we decided to scrap that and focus on this very iconic person in our very iconic franchise. So, lots of good things to say about Nichelle and her work over the decades. And yeah, I'm looking forward on reflecting upon that with you, Starfleet Boy, but also with our live audience. I'm very humbled right now to see the outpouring of live viewers we currently have that wanted to come and talk about Nichelle. So I that's a tribute to her, I think. But thank you all for being here.
Yeah, and
It's a trip.
this was
It's emotional.
yeah, it was also a tough week for us as Trekkies because we also lost David Warner this week, as well as Paul Sorvino, who played Nikolai Rozhenko, Worf's half brother on TNG. So this has been a pretty brutal week in terms of mourning and grieving. I think it's all three of these actors made such a great impression on Trekkies, and certainly they had fans who followed their other works. And we'll talk more about Nichelle and all the amazing things this lady has done in her life, because there's so many. I mean, probably there is a documentary about her, as a matter of fact. So so
See, Kit Walski is here in the audience, and he's saying,
oh wow.
Well, first of all, hi, Kit Walski. Good to see you again. But he's saying Nichelle was an essential element of the TOS tapestry that made it so great. She is a hero to so many. R.I.P. to an amazing woman, mother, actress, and Trekkie. Thank you, Kit Walski, for taking a moment to share your thoughts on that. And yeah, just great to see you again.
Yeah, much love. Big love to Ketwalski, everyone. If you don't know who Ketwalski is, he's a legend. So
people know who people who know Starfleet Boy and Text Trek know Ketwalski for sure.
And Trek Central, actually. So yeah, everyone should know. Father, how did you feel when you found out about Nichelle, and what was your favorite contribution of hers to Star Trek?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to talk about the biggest contribution, I think, was just being, the black woman on the bridge of the Enterprise and how big of a deal that was. I think the most famous testimony on that is from Whoopi Goldberg, who talks about being a girl watching the original series back in the 60s and being surprised at the representation of, look, there's a black woman who's part of the crew. She's not a maid. She's actually doing something a bit more important and has a function with among the rest of the diverse cast on that show. She also thought about leaving the show. She had kind of a rough time initially in that first season. She didn't have like a contract. She was getting paid by episode by episode. She never knew how much work she was going to get. If she was ever going to have, any relevance to any of the stories or anything. She thought about, leaving the show, doing other things. And there's that very famous story of her meeting Martin Luther King Jr. at an NAACP fundraiser and him telling her, like, oh, I love your work on Star Trek. That's so great that you're there. You're the only show I let my kids stay up and watch because I think it's important that they see, the members of our community in the future and having important roles in the future, and you have to stay on that show. So she didn't leave. We also a lot of her work off camera. Not only is she very talented musically, was a singer, dancer, whatever, but she did the amazing work with NASA recruiting the people of color and women and bringing them into the space program, which was kind of
totally.
kind of an embarrassment. NASA hadn't kept up with that, and so she is documented doing all that stuff in the amazing documentary. At least in the United States, it's on Paramount Plus. I don't know about other countries, but if you go to Paramount Plus in the States, you can watch the Women in Motion documentary that was just made a few years ago, but we covered it on Text Trek actually a year ago. But yeah, it's a really good documentary. Nichelle Nichols is really cool. See if you're more
Yeah.
familiar with her work as Uhura and don't know her as Nichelle, off camera so much, check that out. She has a really cool story and did some really important work.
Yeah, she's an amazing person, and what that documentary brought to light a lot of stuff that I had no idea. I already knew she was pretty cool. I mean, like I enjoyed following her as Uhura, but also her other endeavors. She was a singer. I have her album, which I love. I don't know if you all have ever heard it. And a dancer and a model. I mean, she's really quite a muse and an inspiration for many, and certainly I felt that way. Did you ever get to meet her at a con or anything, Fathery?
I did. I met her at one of the last conventions she did. Not the final farewell event, but I think the last time she would have been in Vegas, 2019 at Star Trek Las Vegas. I was very excited to meet her because I hadn't gotten to meet her previously. There was always something that came up. She was at a convention in Austin one time, here in Austin, and I couldn't go to that because it was the day my sister was getting married. There is something else here and there, and so she always felt like, oh, I'm never gonna get to meet Nichelle, and she's not getting any younger. So, but I was so happy that I finally got to see her at Star Trek Las Vegas. I don't do many photo ops these days. I have more fun, running around the conventions, hanging out with other Trekkies and stuff, than waiting in line for photos. But I got a photo op with her, me and my partner Antonia, and she was so kind. I was wearing a Star Trek original series T-shirt, and she was like, "Oh, I love your shirt. That's so nice." And Antonia had like this little pet Tribble we just bought in her arms, and she was like, "Your Tribble is so cute." And she shook my hand. And she's like frail and very elderly, but she still had like this warmth. She was just, how many times has she greeted Trekkies like that? But she made
I
us feel like
know.
so welcomed and privileged to be there. And yeah, I love that I had the chance just to share a brief moment like that with her. It was a convention highlight. Out of all the cons I've gone to, that's one of my favorite memories, to be honest.
I had a great moment with Nichelle Nichols too. Just kind of, and you're totally spot on. She was so like, she'd been suffering from the early stages or maybe the middle stages of dementia at this point, but you wouldn't know it from having met her. She was having a really great day when I met her. I was in 2017, just before the pandemic. It was at Florida SuperCon, which is a local convention, and I was like, ooh, like let me just go to I hadn't been to conventions in like 100 years, and so I was like, let me just get going to conventions. I'd never been to a fully Star Trek convention till Mission Chicago, but anyway, she had like a whole booth with like a captain's chair, and the background was like the Enterprise, and she was giving out autographs and stuff like that. So I, fortunately, since this was like a bigger convention, like the Star Trek portion of it was like really small. I met Jonathan Frakes there as well. Anyways, she like signed the autograph, and she started asking me questions about myself, and I told her I was a photographer, and she's like, well, come on, let's go have photos. And so we sat down she sat down in the captain's chair, and I took photos of her, and then she let me do a portrait of her, which I was so nervous that my portrait's just kind of blurry, but it still came out pretty cool. And then she liked the way I was like doing kind of like oh yeah, that's great, like like directing her. And she's like, oh, let's ditch she goes, let's ditch this convention and go out on the town. And I was like, yeah. And then I looked over and I see like her son looking a little concerned, and I was like, don't worry.
I'm not gonna kidnap your mom.
I'm not gonna kidnap your mom or anything, even though it would have been wonderful to go out on the town with her. But yeah, but like being in her presence and having that moment was just like such a joyful thing. And after that, it was just, it felt like truly, since it was a weird feeling, because she's such a legend, and in my eyes she's like this iconic great character, part of like the original Star Trek series, and like there's just a lot you bring a lot of feelings when you come and meet your heroes, and she was a hero that did not disappoint, is all I'll say. They say never meet your heroes, but she was wonderful.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. I've never heard you tell that story before, so I'm glad that I was able to hear that now, and thank you for sharing that with all of us.
Of course, and it was much more fresh on whenever I did my coverage like years ago. So you can you can go back and listen to it, all the details of it there. But yeah, it's something I'll cherish forever, and the picture too.
I'd be curious to hear from, the live audience if they have any memories of meeting Nichelle, or if they have any Uhura memories that really stand out as something special to them. I guess we should talk about, the legacy of the character is pretty impactful all the way until just, looking at this last year, Celia R. Gooding playing Uhura on Strange New Worlds, and we also had the return of Nichelle Uhura briefly in Star Trek Prodigy through some really fun cameo voice editing technology there. So thanks to Aaron Walke. So that was kind of a delight to see those characters return. So the legacy of the character will live on. One of the things that I saw in her son's post on social media, kind of announcing this to the world just a few hours ago, he compared it to these ancient galaxies that we're just now seeing the light of, thanks to the Webb telescope. Very similarly, even though she might have passed, the work that she's left behind, that will be remembered. That will continue to be watched and experienced and loved, and that will radiate on throughout the years. Long after, hopefully long after the rest of us are gone, there's still going to be people out there watching and enjoying Star Trek. So, that's very cool that she'll be preserved like that in such a big way.
And there's two really great actresses that have portrayed her and will continue to portray her on screen, and portray Uhura rather, and they both, I'm sure, are super heartbroken right now. Also, I think Celia R. Gooding posted a wonderful tribute to her on her Twitter account, and Zoe Saldana is probably, when she finds out, will probably be pretty sad about it as well. But at least the character lives on, and that's kind of cool. Also, just like Leonard Nimoy, that Nichelle Nichols got to kind of see that. Like, I don't know to what capacity or anything, but I'm sure she knew that her character was going on, and there's so much love.
Uhura won't be forgotten anytime soon.
Yeah. And there's so much love in the new era of Star Trek for Uhura, especially. I'm so happy to say that in Picard, like, we got a little, kind of backstory for what continued, what Uhura's story continues as. So it was really neat to see her, to see that she became a captain, and that Jean-Luc had his first warp flight aboard her ship.
So in the behind the scenes, they've established she commanded a ship post Star Trek 6, post the retirement of the Enterprise A. She went out on her own command and eventually encountered a young Jean-Luc. So that is cool. One of the comments I see in the live audience right now from Doug Dennis, he says, the episode I remember was in the animated series where all the women took over and saved the day. Yeah, that is a great Uhura moment where you see her in command of the ship. That is the Lorelei signal. That's one of my favorite episodes of one of my favorite Star Trek shows, the animated series. So that's something to look forward to, Starfleet Boy. We're going to be discussing that on your channel in the near future, the animated series. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to revisiting the Lorelei signal. Great Uhura moment. And in fact, both Uhura and Chapel get a lot of cool moments in the animated series that they were kind of, I don't know, it seems like they didn't really get much of in the original series. So if you haven't checked out the animated series, definitely you can find some good Uhura content in there. And I should also mention that Nichelle Nichols, also with Majel Barrett Roddenberry, but Nichelle Nichols too did a lot of additional voices other than Uhura. She even voiced the Enterprise computer when Majel was unable to record because she was giving birth to Rod Roddenberry back in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
So there's I think 2 episodes where Nichelle had to do the computer voice on the Enterprise because Majel just, she was busy having a kid.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Do you remember which episodes they were?
Aaron Harvey would remember if he was around, but we'll encounter them, I guess, in our rewatch of the animated series.
Yeah,
Starfleet
absolutely.
Boy.
um, that's cool. I didn't know. There's so many. Gosh, there's so many cool stories. What was your favorite Uhura moment that from classic Trek to the films? Like, if you had to like pick one moment, which stands out to you the most?
Um, well, out of everything, I mean, I kind of wanted to say like like her like singing
The
in the rec
Nichelle's
room. I
Uhura,
always
yeah,
really liked that stuff, but
yeah. That's a
uh,
great, great.
I honestly, I think I might have to talk about my favorite Star Trek movie of all time. I know I'm weird for this being my favorite, but some people might know what I'm talking about. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, the all the Mr. Adventure stuff.
Shut up! That's my favorite too. Like, that's awesome.
When
That's pretty
she
cool.
puts the guy in the closet at phaser point at gunpoint. The funny story about that, Nichelle Nichols, I think we all agree they didn't always give her enough. She didn't get as much screen time as a lot of the male counterparts, which is really sad. That's one of my criticisms of Star Trek 3. I would have liked to see more Uhura in a movie that I really do genuinely love. But when she first saw that script, when Nimoy, the director of the movie, is talking to the different actors, and just flips through the script, looks at how many Uhura lines are in there, and she was like, I don't like this. I don't want to do your movie. Like, I'm barely in it. And Nimoy was like, did you look at those scenes though? Like, actually read the dialogue. It's really, really good material, I promise. And then she actually read it, and she was like, oh yeah, this is actually some of the coolest stuff I've ever gotten to do. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm
That's
glad that she had
awesome.
those moments that she really enjoyed playing.
She also gets, I mean, after that, she does get, I feel like she gets more moments that are great. But yeah, that's one of the best moments. It's just such an exciting scene when you find out what's going on and that, this whole kind of plan that they laid out and how Uhura was integral to it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's funny as heck. You wanted adventure? How's this? um since that's your favorite, I'll pick another favorite. And I think I really like her moment in Star Trek 5 when she when she has the fan dance and is singing. I know it sounds silly, but I just love that moment. I think it's awesome. I thought it was like such a cool like body positive, like using seduction in a way to like it was just like very cool. Like she was
That
always
is
about like what's that?
that was kind of odd, when typically they especially back in the 80s, they wouldn't show like actors in their or women like in their 50s as still being very very
Yeah,
sexual like that. So that was because
yeah.
that was a little bit of ahead of the curve. Yeah, like now it's much
Which
more
Star Trek
common.
always does. Yeah, it's true. But she was always like that. I feel like she was very like expressive with her body, and I think that comes from her dancing abilities and stuff like that. But yeah, so I love that moment just because it's so awesome, and she gets she uses these terrible soldiers' desires against them, and we win the day. Well, for a moment, anyways, until Cybok.
Yeah, I see in our live audience, Howard Hudson is mentioning Uhura's song. That was one of the novels, and yeah, like much like I say, the animated series kind of gave Uhura more than she typically had to do in the live action stuff. I think a lot of the novels can make the same claim. There's multiple novels that have kind of given Uhura the spotlight.
Right on. It looks
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of good
Howard.
stuff in the comments.
Yeah, keep it coming. I love reading all these. We have to try to read and comment at the same time. So we're probably a little slow. So forgive us there. But I like this one from Howard, which says, "I saw Miss Nichols at the Hotel Congress in Tucson, Arizona, and sat in front as she sang Beyond Antares to the crowd. Later, I was able to get her to sign my favorite Uhura story. So that's cool. Beyond
I'm
Antares is a
looking at.
great. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is great. I mean, I was saying like one of my favorite things on the show is her singing in the rec room, and while Spock's playing the lute, and so like we got that in Charlie X, we got that in The Conscience of the King.
That's right. Oh, our friend Chris Collins is in the audience. He posted a cute picture
Hi,
of him
Chris.
as a little kid today. That looked like it was a Polaroid that he took in the, I don't know when you were a kid, but it looked like the 80s or 90s sometime, Chris. But he says, I went to Star Trek convention and had her photo from Star Trek 3 with the phaser, and she refused to sign the photo because she felt written out of that film at the time. So that's what he was saying. But that's sad. Krista, she did sign your autograph. She did autograph your photo, though. I saw that on Twitter.
I'm looking at some of the social media that's been coming out lately, and George Takei, her co-star from the original series, had some kind words that I guess I'll share. But George Takei tweeted, I shall have more to say about the trailblazing, incomparable Nichelle Nichols, who shared the bridge with us as Lieutenant Uhura of the USS Enterprise, and who passed today at age 89. For today, my heart is heavy, my eyes shining like the stars you now rest among, my dearest friend. And then he posted a picture of the two of them together saying, we lived long and prospered together.
They sure did. Aw. That's heartbreaking. Yeah, we got George Takei, Walter Koenig, and William Shatner left, here. So hopefully, they're not feeling too sad today. I mean, they probably are, but hopefully they're okay.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, we've been lucky to have so many people from the show from getting close to 60 years ago. We've had a lot of them continue to be a part of our lives, doing conventions, making new content, showing up in like new shows and movies and stuff. And yeah, it's sad that we're at a point now where we've lost so many, and that's I guess that's life, but it's still it's sad.
Thank you, Snoopy McQueen, for the very nice super chat. Snoopy says, sci-fi first African American woman icon Nichelle. And let's see here. Oh, look, Dr. Mae Jameson also posted a tribute that says, Nichelle Nichols is forever for me the embodiment of grace, daring, intelligence, fun, inspiration, beauty, talent, and the future. Today I'm heart sad at her passing. I consider our dearest friendship a great treasure and privilege in my life. And she posted a really nice
from
picture.
the astronaut. That's
the
astronaut,
Dr.
J. Jameson.
Yeah, Mae Jameson.
Ties to Star Trek. She was the transporter chief on TNG, right?
Yep. Don Lewis, speaking of other actors who've been influenced by Nichelle Nichols, said that when she got cast on Star Trek, one of the first people she called was Nichelle Nichols, and Don had the pleasure of meeting her and becoming Nichelle's friend. And she was telling at the Comic-Con panel, I think it was the Entertainment Tonight interview, she was, or maybe it was on the panel itself, but she was talking about how she started Nichelle Nichols through I think it was a Virgo party or something like that, because she had so many friends, or Taurus party, or I forget which sign it was, but she had so many friends who were a certain sign that she went ahead and threw a party for them all at the same time. So that's where she would see Nichelle often, was at those parties.
Yeah, I'm also seeing a tweet on social media from Wilson Cruz, Dr. Colbert on Discovery. He's saying, before we understood how much representation matters, Nichelle Nichols modeled it for us. With her very presence and her grace, she shone a light on who we as people of color are and inspired us to reach for our potential. Rest well, glittering diamond in the sky. Yeah, very, very beautiful words from Wilson Cruz, who he has continued, being one of the first, gay Afro-Latino men in Star Trek. So he's continued that legacy, that tradition of representation.
Absolutely. Kate Mulgrew also just posted today, Nichelle Nichols was the first She was a trailblazer who navigated a very challenging trail with grit, grace, and a gorgeous fire we are not likely to see again. May she rest in peace. That's awesome. And yeah, what an important contribution to humanity. I'm so glad she stuck with it. I'm so glad that Dr. King convinced her to keep going at this role.
Well, you and Gene Roddenberry both, because he didn't want her to leave either. There's I see Jack Quaid put out a picture and tribute to Nichelle Nichols on Twitter. So we got a lot of the newer show people. Lower Decks, also Prodigy, the writer producer Aaron Walke tweeted out a picture of Nichelle. He says, "Peace and long life. Thank you, Nichelle Nichols, for everything." Discovery showrunner Michelle Paradise saying, Impossible to put into words what an inspiration she was, how much she meant to so many of us, and what a legacy she leaves behind. Thank you, Nichelle."
Right on.
Yeah, they're just all coming through now. All the tributes. You see the one from Tawny Newsome.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Tawny Newsome tweeted, "Thank you for giving so many of us a place in the universe." And it's just, yeah, like, I think she really did resonate with so many people. For a long time in Star Trek, she was the only black character of importance, the only woman of importance on the bridge. So that's no surprise that people have connected with her work so much.
And in the audience, KS Kisser points out, could you guys talk about the fan-produced movies she did with other Trek actors? And it's true, a lot of the her and Walter Koenig, and I think even George Takei, I know were involved in fan productions and like kept the embers of Star Trek going online when there was no Star Trek on the air, in a way, so it's pretty cool that they did that. And I've seen a couple of those productions, pretty cool stuff. And Renegades, I think, is one of the ones that she's in, right? Have you seen that one?
Gods and Men. I know she was in Of Gods and Men. That was I feel it was kind of a big one. A lot of people really liked that.
Yeah,
that was cool of the the actors to stay so involved with the fandom.
I love that I love that there's this like other, like, in a way, those YouTube or like fan produced things that the actual actors are a part of. In a weird way, those are like the original What If stories, in a sense. They're not like quote unquote part of the canon, of course, but they're interesting, like, places the characters could have gone. And it's so wonderful when the actors kind of because they didn't have to do it, I'm sure, and so a lot of times they were probably taking under what they would probably ask the studios for. So yeah.
But they had to do those for free, right? You can't pay the actors to do those fan films.
I don't know what the rules were like.
Maybe
all
at some
along.
point you could, but
yeah, I don't know what the rules were all along, and who knows. But the point is, they did them, and it was wonderful. So yeah,
right. I'm trying to think of some good like Nichelle Nichols memories. I know one that I read about recently in the R.I.P. Hero Collector, but the book that they put out, the original series, A Celebration. Ian Spelling, I think, and Ben Robinson wrote that, but one of the stories in there was from a George Takei interview. He's talking about they were traveling on the convention circuit. Him and James Doohan and Walter Koenig and Nichelle Nichols. They're doing the Fab Four tour and just going around to a bunch of conventions. They were, I think, in Pennsylvania or somewhere in the Northeast and got snowed in, and they had to stop at like this hotel that was all booked up, and they could only get like 2 rooms, and so like George and Nichelle had to share a room together. And this is way back in the day when he was still in the closet, but he said like, "Oh well, you sleep in the bed, I guess I'll sleep on the couch." And Nichelle told him like, "I know who you are, and I know I'm safe. Go ahead and get in the bed. It's fine." So I thought that was kind of a fun story.
That is a fun story. It looks like Kirk Thatcher put out a tweet as well, which says, "Rest in peace, Nichelle, a lovely, kind, and gracious soul I met in my teens and had the pleasure to work with on Star Trek 4. She was the epitome of grace and dignity. So grateful I was able to experience her wonderful spirit a number of times through the decades." Very cool. And there's
Yes,
like
and he
two.
posted some wonderful, beautiful pictures with that. We have young Kirk Thatcher and Nichelle. You know, it looks like back in the earlier mid '80s, and then we have a much more recent picture with Kirk Thatcher in I don't know, like a sailor cap, like a ship captain cap or something, in a Hawaiian shirt. But yeah, he's typical Kirk Thatcher. You know, looks like the life of the party, but with an older Nichelle. And yeah, it's
Look
fun
at
to look at them
Looking
side by
mighty
side.
fabulous in that leopard print too, might I say. I love her outfits. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, all of these are being retweeted on the Trek Central feed. So if you guys are curious to see these tributes from both Trek luminaries and fans, go check out Trek Central. And I'm sure if you follow a lot of Trek accounts, if you log in, I'm sure that's what
Yeah.
they'll just come up as well today. It's I think this is our day to like really honor her and celebrate her, and so I'm
Um.
glad we're doing this. It's very cool.
Yeah. It wasn't the plan for today, but it certainly seems like the right thing to do. There's also we got some Strange New Worlds love for Nichelle. I see Melissa Navia has tweeted, Nichelle Nichols, her light will keep shining brighter and stronger than ever. All the rest to her now and peace to her family. Cannot wait for the celebration of her life that is to come and all the stories that those who knew her best will share. Yeah, it's for sure a sad day, but like I keep saying, you know, it's the great time to celebrate and reflect on all the good stuff she did.
Our friend Sub Commander Tall has decloaked in the audience and points out that Nichelle worked on TOS as a single mom in her mid 30s. I didn't realize that. That's interesting. I knew she was a single mom, but I didn't realize it coincided with the TOS thing. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and she was having a interesting career in show business. She was they talk about it in the Women at Warp documentary, but she started touring with it was Duke Ellington, right?
Yes, that's
And
right.
she went on the road with him at a young age, but then you ended up in Hollywood. Originally a Chicago native. Gene Roddenberry, I guess, gave her first acting gig. I think was on The Lieutenant. I think that was her first role. And I mean, I don't know if we need to talk about the relationship she had with Roddenberry, but it sounded like they remained on mostly good terms over the years. And uh, I think obviously though, like her being Uhura on the bridge of the Enterprise, that'll just always be one of the biggest impactful castings in all of science fiction, perhaps in pop culture itself, because of so many people. It's almost cliche to mention now, but yeah, just like every black woman that's worked in Star Trek, every actor, from Whoopi Goldberg to Don Lewis to Tawny Newsome to Sonequa Martin Green, they all talk about how important Uhura was to them, in a way that I'm sure I can't understand or can't relate to, but I've seen the testimonies. I know that it's there, so really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I like to give people their crowns or their flowers, and it's neat to see that. It's neat to see how much love Star Trek, the shows, are giving to the character as well. So yeah, it's just, I mean, Uhura's almost like I think Uhura's like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like the character and the person, kind of Nichelle Nichols, kind of embodied both at the same time. If that makes any sense, like eventually, I think the best qualities of Nichelle Nichols are certainly the best qualities of Uhura, and so her own perseverance behind the camera, her own dedication to the empowerment of women, to equal rights for women, to the civil rights movement. She was a hero of the civil rights movement. All of that, is certainly how we envision the character as well, being like a hero, like being someone who does the right thing every time. And we're all human and we're all flawed, of course, but Nichelle Nichols certainly did a lot of right things.
There's another tribute from Jason Alexander,
Oh, that's
very
cool.
famously a huge Star Trek fan, who's also not only has appeared in Star Trek Voyager, but is a voice in a character in upcoming Prodigy episodes. Jason Alexander says, "My love for the original Star Trek is profound. Nichelle Nichols was a groundbreaker and a glorious ambassador for her show. Her role in science all her life. And a truly lovely person. May she have a wonderful adventure to the final frontier."
That's really nice. In the audience, Fleet Admiral Harrison says, "Right now there are 4 nearly full instances on Star Trek Online at Starfleet Academy honoring the life and legacy of Nichelle Nichols. I think that is beautiful." That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't know Star Trek Online that well, but I understand maybe that means that you can go to like a physical place and like there's a memorial, like not a physical, sorry, like a
Yeah,
virtual place.
yeah. Whenever one of like the big like series regulars dies, they have like this little tribute thing in the game. It's started off with I guess DeForest Kelley and Leonard Nimoy, and or I guess James Doohan, and then they added Nimoy and Anton Yelchin, and now Nichelle will be included.
That's neat. That there's these like virtual monuments that you can go and visit, and I can't wait to get into STO one day. I'm trying. I'm trying to have to procure a PC, and so I'm working on it. She did do video game voices too. Like I think her voice was
Hmm.
in a bunch of video games, including
I think
I
she
see
might
her
even
on.
be in some Star Trek Online at some point. I know they got a lot of the voice actors in that game.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if she was ever in there, but yeah, she's um did some voice work on various projects over the years.
Including Gargoyles, which was a show that
I
I
was
grew up
trying to
watching.
remember if I was trying to remember if she was in Gargoyles or not, because I know they did take a lot of Star Trek actors into
IMDb says
Gargoyles.
IMDb says she was in 3 episodes playing a character named Diane
Okay,
Maza. So yeah, she's
okay,
totally in Gargoyles. Yeah. Also Spider-Man, the animated series. She did a lot of voice work, it looks like. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. So yeah, it's pretty cool. There's this, oh my gosh, like I'm just discovering there's a podcast series that she's on called Starship Excelsior from 2016. Wow. Uh I won't go through all her work, but and I haven't seen all her work, but now I have some homework to do, which is fun. So and that's
hmm.
going to be cool. She's certainly left enough of a legacy behind for plenty of exploration for years to come.
Yeah. So if you want to see more Nichelle Nichols, there's more beyond Star Trek. She did some other stuff, especially in the last 20-30 years.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like she's, oh cool. Let's see. There's another Kim Cattrall just posted a beautiful tweet. Rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols. You were a beautiful pioneer on Earth as you were in space. That's so cool.
Yeah, I see
Nice
a
little
tribute
cast
from
photo.
Jonathan Del Arco from Hugh the Borg. He had a picture of the two of them together. He says, "Goodbye to a legend, Nichelle's Uhura," or I guess that's Nichelle on Twitter. But the brief time I had around you as a young man was a real pleasure.
Dave Blass posted. We were talking about this earlier with
Oh yeah.
the behind the scenes. We honored Nichelle Nichols and that of the character she created with Uhura with this plaque scene in the premiere of season 2 of Star Trek Picard. Farewell, Captain Nyota Uhura. You embodied everything that Starfleet stood for. So yeah, he posted a picture of her ship and the details of her captaincy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool to have the character fleshed out more, and that was part of the great thing of Star Trek Picard season 2, and I think we might have more of it in season 3, but how they really tried to honor the past of Star Trek, not just the, Next Generation stuff, but also the other shows, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, and of course the original series. So yeah, it's nice to see those loving tributes. That's the cool thing about Star Trek, is that Star Trek's been around so long and has been important to so many people for so long, that so many of the folks who work on Star Trek, who make Star Trek now, they are so connected to it. They're fans as well, and so we have a lot of love, a lot of tributes, a lot of stuff like that built into the new content that we're continuing to get. So yeah, it's great to be part of this loving community like that. And I think seeing how many people are coming out and joining the live audience now on our stream here, just to celebrate the life of Nichelle Nichols. It's really cool, really special. A lot of I don't know of like many other TV shows or what have you that would get this same sense of community. It's part of why I love Star Trek so much.
Yeah, same here. Sean says Nichelle was a leader for women, and Sean Marrero says Nichelle was a leader for women and for the rights of all ethnic minorities of her time, sending lots of prayers to her family. Rest in peace. She was an inspiration to all. So yeah, lots of sentiments like that. It's totally true. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. Kyle, her son, said that they were going to have a private funeral, of course, and that they eventually would reach out and talk about her tributes and things like that. But I hope we do see something. It'd be nice to have like a little kind of moment dedicated to Nichelle, because there's certainly so much they could show, just even on Star Trek. So I hope the official Star Trek channels do something cool for her. And I saw some folks saying that they should dedicate maybe the next season of Strange New Worlds to her. I like that idea. I think that's a cool would be a cool way to tribute to her. Oh, cool. NASA, the official NASA Twitter account just said we celebrate the life of Nichelle Nichols, Star Trek actor, trailblazer, and role model who symbolized to so many what was possible. She partnered with us to recruit some of the first women and minority astronauts and inspired generations to reach for the stars. They posted a really great photo of her sitting at mission control, and she looks great. It's a really awesome photo.
Yeah, I wonder if that is in Houston or Florida. I think that's in Houston.
So that would be I think it would likely be at the
Johnson Space Center. so cool. Alex Kurtzman, I don't think we read his tribute yet, but the big boss, the fleet admiral, the Federation president in charge of Star Trek at the moment, Alex Kurtzman, says on Twitter, Nichelle was a singular inspiration. She's the one who really opened my eyes to what Star Trek is and can be. I can't tell you how many people have told me she's the reason they became an astronaut, a scientist, a writer, a linguist, an engineer. It goes on and on. We stand in her light and honor her today and every day. Thank you, dear Nichelle, for leading the way. That was an incredible tribute, Alex Kurtzman. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Very nice.
That was a good one. That's a tough act to follow. I don't know what else we say after that. Well,
he of course being the I guess the grand the grand overseer of all that is Trek right now. Of course he would have met her and had an experience with her as well. So that's cool. So. I really, I had this hope, Fathery, that I know it was like a kind of a stretch, but I'd hoped that we would see her play Uhura's grandmother that's been mentioned on Strange New Worlds. But maybe they could do something like what they did in Star Trek Beyond and just like have a photo, show us a photo of the grandmother, and it'll be Nichelle Nichols' visage. as her grandmother.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, yeah, she they actually originally wanted her for a short trek when they were first trying to think up what to do for the short treks, and they said, what if we had a short trek of Nichelle Nichols as a very elderly Uhura, and she actually meets this young Starfleet cadet or young junior officer who is Jean-Luc Picard. And they ended up not doing that. Instead, they're like, oh, what if we just make like a whole TV show about Picard, and we got Star Trek Picard. But I think after that, just she did have a long life, a young long career. But yeah, like last few years she wouldn't have been healthy enough to act in anything when they were started making so much Star Trek again. But they definitely remembered the character. They were always thinking about some way to sneak her in, and we kind of got that that tribute if you look closely at Star Trek Picard season 2. I see J.J. Abrams has also tweeted out a tribute. He's saying, "A remarkable woman in a remarkable role, Nichelle. You will be deeply missed. Sending much love and respect." So that's from the big time film director producer J.J. Abrams. Played a big role in bringing Star Trek back, getting us all this Star Trek in production.
It looks like Michael Okuda put a nice little note out as well. I first met Nichelle Nichols in 1985 at KHNL, a TV station in Honolulu. She posed with me, and the next day I asked her to sign a print. Sure, as long as you sign a print for me. I still smile when I think of the day that she asked me for my autograph. Go boldly, Nichelle. That's so cool.
Oh,
and the
who
picture's
said that?
really cool.
Who did that come
from?
That
was Michael Okuda.
Oh, wow. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
Mike Okuda, who's been a Star Trek legend himself for many decades at this point. I was just reminded that there's also a USS Uhura ship in Picard that was part of that fleet in the Stargazer, in the season 2 premiere.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's very cool.
Reliant class starship. Kind of looked like an updated Miranda, the Reliant class.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think it was a Stowe design, one of the Stowe designs that they repurposed for Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, when you say Stowe, I almost want you to say Stowe-Core, but that's okay.
Oh, Star Trek Online.
I know, STO. That's so cool. There's I love seeing. I'm glad my algorithm favors Star Trek because I'm just seeing so many beautiful tweets coming from folks about Nichelle Nichols. Like it's really nice. I hope she's all that trends on the internet today. It's pretty sweet to see all of this. Wow. Father, and audience, I think we're coming up to the hour, and we'd like to give you guys a chance. Well, this was like so amazing to spend this time with you, but we'd like to give you guys a chance to go off and celebrate Nichelle Nichols in your own way, and we're so grateful that you came to celebrate for us. But any final tribute or toast or thoughts you want to give to Nichelle Nichols, please type it in the chat, and we'll try to look at them and read them. And Father, have you got anything to say?
I mean, it is sad, to lose another one of these big actors, and it's something that I kind of hate to say it, but Star Trek's been around for so long and has been so big for so long that we were something that's it's going to happen more and more. We just have a lot of great talent that we've had for so many years, and but the good thing, the silver lining to that cloud, like I mentioned, we have this incredible volume of work that we can continue to enjoy, and also do things like expand on the character. I think Strange New Worlds has done a great job of contributing, of adding layers to Uhura that we never would have had otherwise. And if you want to continue enjoying the old stuff that Nichelle gave us and gave us a lot of. That's all still there too, and something that I'll continue to watch. Nichelle Nichols will remain a part of my life, just as Leonard Nimoy has, and DeForest Kelley has, and Aaron Eisenberg has, and yeah, I love that these talented people will continue to entertain me and continue to move me and continue to be parts of these touching stories that mean a lot to me. So yeah, that's I guess that's all I have to say on it, but it's kind of a bittersweet thing.
Yeah, no, it was really nice, touching, and beautiful. I'll say, I'll read this comment from Jonathan Good in the audience. Waiting in line at the Hotel Commodore NYC just to give her a kiss was really worth it. Me and my friend probably made a lot of people mad that day, but we didn't care. We were very happy that day. Yeah, that's a great moment as well. And Gray Gamer says, I had the pleasure to interview her in the late 1980s. A wonderful human being. Hey, Gray Gamer, if you follow any of us on Twitter, please send a link to the article or something. That'd be cool, or cool to see. And Jill47 says, words fail me in trying to express what Uhura and Nichelle meant to me. And I feel like a lot of people probably feel that way today. And that's a good way of paying tribute to her as well, because you just keep her in your heart and stuff. That's nice. For me, I'll just say that as a person of color, a minority, growing up, it was really wonderful to see all kinds of representation. But Uhura definitely stood out, because if you live, especially in the United States, you understand the plight and the struggles that Black people and African American people in this country have gone through and still continue to go through. And she was just a shining beacon, like a wonderful, she gave us a glimpse into what a future of collaboration and celebration of differences, and like just getting past bigotries and all that could lead to for so many people. To me, she was an inspiration as a kid, as a young budding gay man. We tend to love these fashion muses and icons, and Nichelle Nichols was all those things, wrapped up into a wonderful, glorious human being. And again, just meeting her was like the highlight of that experience with her. And so I'm so happy that we got together today. Fathery, thanks for joining me, and thank you so much, folks in the audience, for coming on here and spending some time with us, mourning and grieving and celebrating. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys soon, and live long and prosper. Thank you.